Welcome back. You're still tuned in to News and Views with myself, Salalo Makudia. The time is 2 minutes before 10 to 8, so it's 8:48. If you are going anywhere and you have to be there, before 9, I think you might be running a bit late, but it's okay. You're still tuned in to News and Views. We're keeping you company, so don't panic. Or panic if you have to. In a bit, we're going to be diving into a pressing issue that's at the heart of South Africa's economic and social landscape. The Save South Africa Civic Movement is pushing for a significant policy change that could impact thousands of job seekers across the nation. They're calling for the removal of age limits for entry-level government and police positions, arguing that the current restrictions are exacerbating unemployment and pushing many capable individuals into economic despair. I think we've all seen, the unemployment stats that were released by Stats SA. I think it was a week ago, and just particularly young people, getting the brunt of that. And I think it's going to be really, really interesting, the conversation that we're going to be having. And considering that those recent stats SA data showing a troubling rise in unemployment, this debate couldn't be more timely. And joining us to shed light on this issue is Tebogo Mashilompane, the Campaigns and Communications Director of Save South Africa. Tebogo, welcome to Salam Media. Thank you so much for joining us, and really appreciate you giving us your time.
Thank you, Mr. Salailo, and greetings to you and greetings to your viewers. Thank you so much for having us.
I think first and foremost, maybe you can start by explaining the core argument behind Save South Africa's call to remove age limits for governments and police recruitment. How does this relate to the broader issue of unemployment in South Africa? I think for one, I know that to be a police officer, someone needs to be at least 18 years old, but under the age of 30, and I think it might be a similar case also when it comes to the SANDF. What's at the core of your argument? Why did you feel the need, to go this route and to make that call to have, an amendment on the age limits for recruitment into government entry-level positions?
Yeah, we we are informed by the fact that people in the category age of 36 to 59 are being neglected in the economy due to these policies of age restriction and so forth. And you realize that somebody at the age of 35 and 36, these are age group people. So why do you separate the two? And then we further say, what is it that informed the policy makers to say we are only looking for people below the age of 35 without having checked them first if they are fit and proper for a job? Because you can't just say to somebody you can't do it, but you've never tested the person. It's like those who graduate from the school, they say, you can't work here, you don't have experience, but you never give them an opportunity to come and work. So we are informed by that fact to say the high rate of unemployment is very high in the country, and then the people between that age are neglected, and then as they're neglected in that fashion, they are basically isolated also, and they are not given any mechanism to sustain themselves. Because even when they go for business purposes to say it's okay, let's leave this age thing and then we'll try in the business side or the entrepreneurship type, they go for funding. Those are still closed for them, because they'll be saying, no, we're looking for people below the age of 35. So if you look in many parts of the government, the 36 to 59 are unemployed. And then you go back and you say, okay, but the high rate says the youth are unemployed. That's where we coming in. We say, you see now these policies are not working. These policies are just there to make people to manage the people. It is speeches. These politicians make speeches and then just to comfort people, and then but they don't come with solutions. Because if indeed the Ministry of Youth, women and people with disability was functional, it means now that the high rate of unemployment in these three categories would have been very, very, very low. But to show that these are just there to say, but at least we've got something there, and then the president or whoever is in charge will be coming and say, hey, we've created 100,000 jobs. 100,000 jobs in a country of 60 million people. What nonsense is that one? So we are saying even these policies are not implemented because they are not they're just fake policies. These policies are they're taken from the past regime of apartheid, where black people were segregated. And then now when the new government took over, the ANC government, they continued with the same segregation agenda, where they separate the youth, they separate the women, they separate the men. So in it, we are basically saying they are destroying the family unit. And when you destroy the family unit, you are causing confusion in this country. And we are also further saying there is a relationship between unemployment and crime. And I'll give you an example. When a 20-year-old who's supposed to be employed and is also not employed, or maybe still at the tertiary institution, he looks or she looks at the uncle or the father or the aunt, whoever, at the age of 45, being unemployed for the past 10 years. What is it that goes in the mind of a 20-year-old when the parents are unable to feed them with the qualification, and some parents who have never worked at all? So you want to tell me that there's confidence in the 20-year-old? There's no confidence. We are basically encouraging crime by putting this age limit, because the young ones must be motivated by the older ones to say, I know if I've got a degree, I'll have a job. I'll be like my uncle who's working in the Department of Water Affairs. I'll be like my mother who's working in the Department of Education. But now they don't have a reference to say, in my family, so and so is working. The reference they have is to say, you know what? In my family, nobody's working. Some they've got matric, some they've got qualifications, but they're sitting at home. So what motivates this 20-year-old young person to say, I'll pursue this line of life, and then I've got confidence that at some stage, if I don't get a job, I'll get a business funding, I'll start my business. So they see that nothing is happening. So that is why we are saying there is a relationship there between unemployment and crime. And this crime is now going to be committed by the younger ones and the older ones. So that is why we say remove the age limit, so that we can all face the same demon, which is unemployment. Because by separating, we are basically saying we are favoring this side, but at the same time, we are not doing anything for them. You are putting anger on this side, and they look at the left and say, but the left ones are more privileged. But the left ones, they're also saying, but you are also unemployed. And you see, this is the divide and rule that was maintained by the apartheid regime, and we are so sad and disappointed that in this after 94 we continued with the same apartheid mentality, the apartheid policies that continue to deprive the blacks, the Indians, and the colored from participating fully in the economy of this country. But preference is given to what is given to the capital. So the people who will just come and take the resources from our country and assist with policies and say, no, put these policies, whereas they are busy digging down our gold, our minerals, and they disappear with those things. So there is the background that I can talk to you about. Yes.
I want to focus a bit, specifically on the police and the defense, departments or spheres. How would the removal of age limits, impact these sectors? And I'm asking because, sometimes looking at our policemen and our police women, and some, how old and unfit they can be looking sometimes, it's saddening. Sometimes you look at a policeman, it's like, I don't see that guy chasing a criminal. He looks old, he looks frail, or just out of shape. So the impact in literal terms, that besides outside of employment, but in these sectors, in these spheres, the literal tangible change that can be brought by having younger, fresher people be allowed to get into those sectors and to work and to make a meaningful change.
Look, people grow as time goes, and then some will say no, we've employed them when they were 20 years. So that is the failure of the police to say police must be fit. I remember when you're growing up, we knew that there were gymnasiums for police. People were going there and then the exercise and so forth. So those things are gone. They don't do that after they've been employed. There are many things that are happening. They forget about their duties. But let me bring you to this point to say, imagine somebody who's 40-year-old who has never worked, and that person is able to receive that employment. This person is sober-minded. This person is focused. This person wants to work. So imagine what the impact will that person do in the field, because these ones are already taking advantage that we are employed. But what about this one who's not employed? When you give them an opportunity to come and work, because they don't have dignity at the moment, but once you give them the opportunity, they will prove to you that we are fit and proper. And I can tell you, one of the reasons that you are referring to such people to say, look at them, how they look like. Remember, those people did not want to become police. They became police because of age. They became police because that was the alternative, a platform that was available for them. So now we are talking about people who are fit beyond the age of 35. Somebody who's 38 years old, who is fit, who is still focused, and say, I can work. So there's a huge difference between taking an 18-year-old and taking a 38-year-old. We can't even compare the two, because this 38-year-old has life experience. He understands, or she understands exactly what they want to achieve in life. Unlike an 18-year-old who is still growing, and we expect that 18-year-old should be at school. We don't expect them that they should be defending the country. That is actually something that it doesn't make sense. I cannot allow my son is doing grade 12 now, he's 17 years old. And then he can't tell me that next day you want to become a police person. I will refuse, because he's a child. How will he protect me? Because I'm supposed to protect him. So you can see this age thing of 18 years. It's also it's foolish, because how do you take a child who's supposed to be at school, who's supposed to be developing some skills somewhere, and then you say, come and defend the country? You make him a soldier. How will they defend this country in all honesty? Somebody who's 18 years old, they cannot do that. So, but now when you take somebody who's matured, somebody who's saying, I'm ready to die for my country, and then you put them there, those people, even when they deal with criminals, they will deal with criminals harshly. But a 22-year-old sending him or her to arrest a drug lord, what do you think will happen there? This is a kid who's still growing, and he has not matured to a level where they can distinguish certain things. We can say, no, kids of today are intelligent. There's a difference between intelligence and maturity. So now we're talking about people who are matured, people who are fathers and mothers, people who are uncles, people who are brothers, people who are old, who can say, we can do this thing. And we are saying, how do you judge the person of 38 and say it's not fit without taking them through the process, without taking them through the fitness test? Take these people through the fitness test. Let them fail on their own, and then you'll realize that, okay, I have failed on my own. I'm not fit to become a soldier or to work in a correctional service to guard to be a guarder there, guard the prisoners. So allow people. Give them space. Look now, when you talk about issues, bursaries still, this age group cannot get bursaries. You look at leadership, this age group cannot get leadership because they're older than 35. Who said they are old when the president is over 70 years? Who said they are old when the president of MK is 83 years? Who said they are old when the minister of defense force cannot walk properly, cannot speak properly? She has failed in education, but she is the minister of defense. But there's nothing wrong there. But a 36-year-old who is still finding his feet and is well focused cannot become a soldier. I mean, that thing actually, it shows you the type of leaders that we have in this country. The leaders who don't have focus, the leaders who cannot think. We have led by people who cannot think. You cannot take a 65-year-old and say this woman will be a minister of defense, and then you say, but a 36-year-old cannot be there. And let me give you this one. We are if indeed these people believe in the 35-year-old, can they take a minister of police who is 22 years old and put him there, or put her there?
Never.
Show
that would never happen.
You get our point now. Because if that indeed to believe in this age thing, take a 24-year-old and make him the Minister of Defense. Take the 30-year-old, make him the Minister of Correctional Services. And then we can say, no, now we don't have an argument. Until you do that, then you've got an argument. Remove everyone in parliament who's over 35. And then let them suffer the very same pain that the 36-year-old to 59-year-old are suffering. You know, we are leading by people who do not understand the conditions in townships, communities where people are suffering. These people they've never experienced first-hand poverty because they went outside, they ran, they disappeared. Some studied outside, claiming that they were in exile, and they were studying there. They were having odd jobs outside there. And then they never felt the pain that the people that were in the country, our parents suffered enough because they were beaten here in this country. Our grandmothers died because of the brutality of apartheid, but they were saved because they were outside. So when they come here, they can't even relate to the situations that we saw when we grew up, when our parents were running in the street, police running after them. So they've never experienced. We have experienced that as children, and those things are still in our mind when we watched our uncles jumping gates. When the police were raiding our townships. So these people cannot relate, but they now come and tell the very same people who were here in the forefront of the struggle, who never benefited after 94. And then you left them after they passed 35. You say, no, we can't help you. But you also failed to assist them when they were below 35. So we are saying scrap these nonsensical policies because they are not in operation. They are just documents that are shelved there to say, you know what, South Africa is a progressive country. This is not a progressive country as long as we are led by grandparents who says others must not work, but them must work. So let all of us who are over 36, including the ministers, leave space for the less than 35 to run this country, if indeed we believe in the age group.
Now, I can tell you for certain that will never happen. I mean, someone that's 40, 45, it's a struggle for them to even get to parliament. So you need to be in the 60s group upwards. But just finally, before I let you go, what steps can the public and other organizations take to support Save South Africa's campaign and contribute to this very, very important cause?
We saying structures, especially community-based organizations. Group yourself, talk to us, let us come with a plan for all of us, not for Save South Africa members and other people, for everybody. Let's come together and give each other ideas. But on our side, we are going to be speaking to the Minister of Employment and Labor. We are going to put our arguments if she gives us a hearing, and then we'll speak to her and say, Minister, go to your cabinet, go and motivate that this age thing is not working, and then it actually perpetuating crime. So we are saying, Minister, go and motivate. So that is the step that we are taking. And secondly, we are always encouraging our members in all our social platforms to say, let's get the skills like plumbing, sewing, baking, whatever that you can do, but just have a skill, because we know that our government has failed in education to teach children and then also give them the skill, because our education system is so poor to a point that when a child complete a degree, they don't even know what to do. You find that a journalist completed journalism qualification, they don't know what to do. But if our institutions were pro, they were going to say, as a journalist student, they were going to teach them the business side of it already, so that they know that even if I'm not employed by somebody, I can start something like 1, 2, 3. So, but the education system is so close to a point that it makes you to think that after you graduate, you must just get an employment, and then that is the problem. So I think we need to revisit. There were many calls that were made before in terms of education, but we can see that they're not getting hearing from that. So yeah, so those are the things that we can say.
All right,
Yeah.
Tebogo Mashilompane, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for those insights. And I think this is a very, very important cause to, kind of look at and to pay heed to, because unemployment is really, really rife in our communities. And as you said, it's breaking the family structures, it's perpetuating crime. And a lot of people don't associate the two. But in reality, no one would just wake up in the morning and say, I want to be a criminal. It's forced circumstances.
Never.
They can't find a job. They need to fend for their loved ones. And under these difficult economic situations, it's even difficult for those that even have jobs. So I think a very, very important cause you embarking on. And I will definitely be linking up with you as it progresses. But we're going to leave it here for now. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much. Thank you.
That was Tebogo Mashilompane. He's the communications director at Save South Africa. And I think really, really important campaign that they're embarking on, calling for the elimination of age limits for recruitment into government entry-level positions and police roles. And he mentioned something very, very important. If you believe in 18 to 35-year-olds so much, then step back from parliament. Eh? Have a 22-year-old as Minister of Police. Have an 18-year-old as Minister of Defense. I mean, they can join the army at 18. Why not be the minister? Going to take a quick break. When we come back, as Juma Inspirations with Maulana Hashim Kasim.